the third year and counting, Richard Skipper has been celebrating the artists you love.
And what are some of the things that you've really
run out of time, and we've got to talk about your latest. I want to go back a little bit, first of all, and celebrate a true legend.
Richard Skipper is all about celebrating life, art, and his guest body of work.
And did you pursue performing opportunities while you were in high school?
Please join us while he showcases these diverse and talented individuals. Here's Richard Skipper.
Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to Richard Skipper's Friday Wrap-Up. How has your week been? I hope that it's been wonderful. There's been a lot been going on in the world this week. Some good, some bad, some indifferent. Whatever is going on, as Candor Neb says, the world goes round and round and round, and we keep going. I am so excited about today's show. I have three very excited women in the wings and from all corners of the world right now. So we're going to decide who's going to come on let me tell you who's watching right now. I see my friend Ron, Tasha, Danielle, Lisa, Francis. They're all here supporting me. I love all of you. We are celebrating Earth Day today. I'm also reminded of the song by Jerry Herman, "Someone Has Wounded You, Dear World." And our world is wounded right now. And I'm reminded of the film It's a Wonderful Life, because things may be going on the other side of the planet right now, but we are all connected. And we have to realize that something may be happening in someone else's backyard or on the other side of the planet, but it's affecting each and every one of us. And it's important that we take care of not only each other, but our neighbors around the world and support each other. So even though there's a lot of chaos and craziness going on around the world, my hope is that for the next hour, we're going to have a few laughs, I hope. We're going to celebrate each other. We're going to celebrate those of you who are watching. There is a wonderful book by Khalid Smith. The word that I chose for today is joy, because I believe that we need to find joy in each other. Ron, since you're the first one that I saw, I want you to pick a number 1 through 3, and that will decide who will be our first guest that I will bring on today. They don't know who I will be. It's like door number 1, door number 2, door number 3, and it's all in the hands of Ron. Ron is a dear friend, and I will be seeing Ron virtually after today's show. So Ron, I'm waiting for you to pull that number, and we will bring on the first guest, and we will see who that will be. And they're all sitting there rubbing their hands to see who will be coming on. So Ron, bring that number on, unless he stepped away from his computer for a moment. Ron, going once, going twice, going 3 times. Ron, he picked number 2, and that is Barbara Lee George. And Barbara, I love you.
I love you.
Yes, we are dear friends. Barbara, I consider to be a soulmate. Barbara is a sounding board. We bounce ideas off of each other. But Barbara reached out to me today to be on the show because she wanted to talk about Earth Day. And Earth Day is very, very important to you, Barbara.
Yes, it is. It always has been. You know, I've always felt related to the earth as a child. I hated to put on my shoes. I wanted to run barefoot everywhere, and I played in everyone's gardens. And you know, I loved the earth, and I loved people, and especially diversity. I grew up early in the South, and I experienced segregation. And then when I came to the North, I felt like I had died and gone to heaven to discover all these people, these wonderful people, and how beautiful they all were, and how truly profoundly related we are. So anyway, I was asked many years later if I would write a song for an event that was happening for Earth Day. And so the organizer was this dear friend, Tony DeGode, and she asked me if I would do that, and I did. And I wrote this song. I called it the Earth Day Anthem. And kind of like I pledge my allegiance to the flag, I started off with, I start this day a brand new way, a guardian of the earth and sky above. My life given to what I can be proud of, a symbol of my everlasting love. And this became the Earth Day Anthem. I performed it at the event. There happened to be the New York congressman there. He wanted to have it adopted as our nation's Earth Day anthem. And things kept spiraling, and it just kept, there was an energy around the song that was so beautiful. And I would surprisingly be nominated for this song and for a children's book that I wrote called The Earth Day Book. For a Green Nobel Prize, which stunned me. And in 1992, I attended the Kennedy event, the ceremony in which John Denver and Kenny Loggins won. But I was there to meet everyone and just share with all these other people. Like you were saying in the beginning of the show, you never know what anyone is going through, and we are all profoundly related. And I thought I was just doing a little thing, in writing this song as a musician and a person who loves the earth and loves people. And so Earth Day is very special to me. It has been since 1990. And I started an organization called Global Garden Foundation, which is committed to the environment, cultural diversity, and the arts. And I have wonderful people who've come and joined me in this effort. And, it's just, there's many, people who deserve lots of credit. But anyway, go ahead, please.
Oh, no, that's wonderful. I love hearing all this. Now, you live here in Rockland County as well, don't you?
I actually live in Hudson County in New Jersey. I live in North Bergen, New Jersey in Hudson County. And my property borders the Hudson County Park, which is absolutely beautiful. And as far as joy is concerned, the joy that I was able to tap into with having the park there, especially during COVID, was just a godsend. So to be close to nature and to see people out and about in the open air was just, a saving grace.
That's great. Now, do you garden a lot yourself?
I don't, but I have dear friends who do, and they've helped to teach me because I'm an appreciator of gardens, but I don't do a lot of gardening. I used to have a roof deck garden that was 3,000 square feet, and I grew my
Wow.
own food and flowers, and but I don't have the space now to do it. Although I do a little bit of indoor gardening with microgreens, and that's another incentive that we're going to do with the schools. We want to teach children how to grow their own food. And so that's another thing that we'll be doing in this next year. So I've got a good group of people working with me on that.
Now, you mentioned that you also grew up in the South.
Yeah.
We have two Southerners. The
Two
other night, oh, what was that?
and two Aquarians.
And two Aquarians. We've got that in common. The other night, I was lucky enough, little plug there, to be interviewed by Sandy Duncan.
Yes.
And we were talking about this Southern connection that we had. When, you're not giving away your age or anything, but when did you grow up in the South? How long have you been living up north? And how did that move take place?
Okay, I'll proudly give up my age. I was born in 1955. And so, as many know, a lot was going on at that time.
Right.
And, it wasn't long after that my mom realized, and she actually was a wonderful health and beauty expert who was invited to be on a talk show, on the Johnny Carson talk show. So she came to New York, and on the second appearance, she met the Gabors, and they were building a health spa in Goshen, New York, and they asked her if she would come on board and help them establish it. And she was very happy to get out of the South at that time and bring her children north. So I was in third grade when I came to Goshen, New York, and that's when I kind of died and felt like I went to heaven, so.
Land of Goshen, as they used to say.
Yeah, it
So
is.
I'm going to ask you, and again, Danielle has told me there are no random questions. So this is the question card that I'm pulling up tonight. And interesting question since you're talking about this. Who had the most influence on you growing up?
Oh, clearly my mother. Absolutely. Yeah. She was not only a beautiful person outside, because she was a model and she was very beautiful, but she also used all of her gifts to help people. She used her voice to read books for the blind. She helped to start a children's daycare center. And she started a school, a modeling school, where they celebrated each individual's look. She wasn't encouraging people to look like Twiggy. She was encouraging them to look like they looked, to celebrate whatever they looked like, and to find their true beauty. And when they would walk in the door in the beginning of the school, it was kind of, shy, and they'd walk out proud and, chest out. It was just such a beautiful
I love
transference of abilities and understanding of their own value that she conveyed to people. She was a wonderful teacher, and she taught me. So
Oh, that's wonderful. So I'm going to have you pull a number, 1 or 2.
I'm going to pull 2.
Number 2. And that is my dear friend. She doesn't know she's coming up. Elaine Ballace. Oh, hello, Elaine.
Listen, I got the memo. A little bling and with black
Yes.
and bling.
Black
And
and
you actually
bling.
have 4 women. This is Mika, and she's very much she's quite the diva. She's into the camera. Say hello. There's the
Hello,
camera.
Mika. Hello, Mika. Elaine, do you mind if I tell them? Elaine had a wonderful companion named Oreo, and Oreo passed away a few months ago. And I'm happy that you've got a new companion.
Well, it was very funny because, like you say, you never know what's going to happen. I had no plans of getting one. And my neighbors, she was born, and it was during a time when I was really sick with pneumonia, and they just dropped her off to say, "Well, why don't you foster her? We really think you need a dog." And I said, "Look, I can't foster myself at the moment." But it's very interesting how when you're forced to take care of someone, suddenly you get better. And so after fostering her for a while, and I'd never really had a puppy, a baby, or anything, so was not used to any of that. And it was a rough spot, let me tell you. But I think she decided, this woman is crazy. This is going to be the most exciting time of my life. And that's what I'm going to be doing. So we worked it out. We're still working.
Well, that's wonderful.
So
Now,
that's it.
Elaine has been on this show before. We did a one-on-one when I first started doing this, as a matter of fact. Elaine she's done her own series called Camp Elaine. Elaine was, everyone out there should know, she was a champion ice skater. Incredible comedian. You've worked with everyone in the business, or I should say, everyone in the business has worked with you.
Oh, I like
Yes, yes.
that. I like
And
that. There are a
you
few people
you
left on my
have
bucket
this. You
list.
have this. You put together this booklet, which I love. Do you have the booklet nearby?
You know what? Not far. Hold on.
Not far. And the booklet is,
Here we are.
here it is, How
Right
to
there.
Write a Book, Camp Elaine style.
And that's
And
Oreo. Wait.
yes, and there's Oreo on the book. But
And there's the
the
back cover.
pages
There's a better
are
picture.
blank because you write your own story.
That's it. I figured, very similar to what you had said, everybody needs a cheerleader in life. And you talk to people, and I believe you had him on your show, Hank Garrett,
That's
whom
right.
I ran into the other day at lunch. And he, just totally gives his life to Sammy Davis Jr. for saving him on the streets in New York and Harlem. And I realized, when you really talk to people, there's always been someone who's either been there to push them, but someone who's helped them and cheered them on to do what they wanted. And I thought, this is a great idea for a book that people really do want to tell a story, but they feel, oh, I'm not good enough, or no one's going to care, or anything. So when I wrote the book, it just started off as kind of a fun thing to cheer, people on to tell their story. Well, then we got COVID, then we got the civil unrest, and we got everything. So I figured, you know what? This is really a time more than ever to have people tell his or her own story, because we don't know what the history books are going to say. We don't know if in 50 years history is going to be different or whatever. And I figure this is the best way to have someone have a legacy that's his or her true legacy. And nobody can change it. It's in your writing. And so it was really cute because Mel Brooks sent me an autographed copy of his book, and it's 500 pages. And so I sent him an autographed copy of my book. And but I did a little video in between, and I said, well, I guess you can see the difference in careers. Mel's is 500 pages, mine's 50 pages. But he loved it. He said, Elaine, only you would come up with something like that. It's such a clever and good idea. So now when I do my book, How to Write a Book Camp Elaine Style, let's see, there we go. I'm going to get a stamp on it saying Mel Brooks approved.
Good for you. I'm going to ask you the same question that I just asked Barbara. Who had the most influence on you growing up?
I was thinking about it when you were asking her that question. I'm not really sure, because I started skating at a very young age and was a professional by the time I was 8. So, in many ways, everybody, and in many ways, I'd have to say ice skating, because I learned the discipline of skating, the dedication, the devotion, and also what I learned, and I also learned that a little bit later on through Mel, is you have to have the passion. And without passion, there is nothing. And with skating, it was me and the ice. And the only way, and of course, a coach, but the only way to really improve is by practice, 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 like they say about how do you get to Carnegie Hall.
Practice,
But
practice, practice.
they I really feel that discipline carried on through every aspect of my life, whether it was school, whether it was acting, whether anything. And I also learned, about timing, and I learned about proper training, because you don't want to, I see how skating has changed so much, and congratulations that they're doing what they're doing, but I also miss the real skating, so to speak. And it was ironic because last night someone sent me a video of Torval and Dean. I think you might remember them
Oh, yeah.
from 1984, and their Bolero Olympic champion. But every number of theirs is so different and so amazing. And I sent it to another friend of mine who's an Olympic and world champion, Tim Wood, who is known for his edges, known for his figures, known for everything. And he said, isn't it a shame that there's no one today who could skate like Torval and Dean, with the edges, with the finesse, with the creativity? Everything's kind of the same, and the flailing arms and everything. And sometimes progress really isn't progress, sometimes you need to go back to what was. And I think that's a perfect way of segueing into what Earth Day is, because it all started with the earth. And sometimes you just have to go back to basics.
Absolutely.
And to me, that's what it is.
Yeah. I want to bring on our next guest, and it's very interesting. We've never met. She is, believe it or not, in the UK. And I got a fan letter from her the other night. And it was after the interview that Sandy Duncan interviewed me the other night. And I got the most wonderful fan letter from this incredible woman. Sarah, and I reached out to Sarah because she also friended me through LinkedIn. And Sarah's first initial reaction was that she did not want to come on the show, that she didn't feel that my show is about celebrating people and their body of worth. So, Sarah, I hope you don't mind me going here, please. But she didn't feel that she was worthy to come on the show. And I said, absolutely, you are. I want you to come on the show. And she changed her mind and she's here. So I'm thrilled that you're here. So if you can, first of all, tell everyone a little bit about who you are and what you do. And first of all, thank you for that incredible fan letter.
Oh, thank you. I just want to say, Richard, can you hear me okay?
Yes, absolutely.
The last few months has been amazing because I discovered you, and you may want people to know how I discovered you, because I think it's quite an interesting route. And I've been hooked on your program and listening to the various interviews that have taken place. And the thing that really has struck me is that you actually listen to the people who you interview, and you have a huge range of people who you interview. As you can hear from my accent, I'm based in the UK and I'm based in London, and no doubt the chat shows that we have in London are similar to the ones that you have in the States, where really people just come on to plug a film or a show or whatever, and they're talking, you know, in short sound bites. So I think your program is amazing in terms of drawing out the best of the people who you interview and showcasing them to the rest of us. So thank you. But you asked me about me, didn't you? Okay.
Yes.
Well, here I am. I'm based in London. I'm not in show business world at all. I work in financial services, actually. Last week, I think you asked somebody if they were enjoying, was it National Bean Counting Day?
Yeah.
And I loved it when they said that they make soup out of beans. I work for one of the big four accountancy firms, so it was quite amusing to hear that. But I work in the training environment and I work in education, and I actually started my life as a primary school teacher in the East End of London, which is one of the toughest, roughest parts of London. Wow. But I've always had a commitment to working, and then I moved into the city and financial services. But my commitment always has been in terms of working with people who are less advantaged and working on different schemes and different programs. So linking Barbara Lee? Yeah, linking into the work that you do. When I was teaching, I did various projects with my pupils, just to ensure that they kind of were closer to the kind of environment in which they worked. And likewise in the city, I've done that too. So it must be the same in the States, where you have things like corporate social responsibility days, where you go out into the countryside or you go into kind of urban areas actually and work on particular schemes. So recently I did a project with an urban city farm, which actually brings children in from the city and to see what a cow is and to see what, you know, animals are and what they do and so on. And then Elaine, just linking in with you, when I was a primary school teacher, again, as I say, I was in the East End of London, and it was a very rough area, but it was a stone's throw away from the West End and where all the kind of entertainment is. And I did a project with the Royal Ballet School, Royal Ballet Company rather, and they had an outreach program to go out to schools and encourage school children to understand what the arts are about. And we brought in costumes and we brought in dancers from the Royal Ballet Company, and then the children and their parents went off to the Royal Opera House and watched a performance. So I've always had a kind of an interest in working with people who are less able or less advantaged and bringing different fields into the work that I do. That's me.
Well, I have something to tell Sarah, because when I was in college, I went to USC, University of Southern California, and they had programs in the inner cities. They had what they called biology semester, and we went out into the schools in Watts and different areas. So I'm very familiar with that.
I had friends from college who were at USC, and
Yay! Right on.
I went to Los Angeles in the early 1980s. I think it was about 1984, and we had the Watts riots, and my friends were teaching in Watts. so yeah, familiar with the area. Yeah, but can I just say thank you for mentioning Torval and Dean. They're just
Oh,
fantastic.
yes, they're my faves.
Yeah.
And you also had you had two great skaters. You had Robin Cousins and you had John Curry,
Yes,
who
John
was an
Curry.
Olympic. They both were Olympic champions.
My husband's listening, and he loved Robin Cousins and John Curry. Yeah,
Both are phenomenal. Both.
yeah,
Well, John's not with us
yeah,
anymore, but
yeah, yeah,
Robin and John were both wonderful skaters.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing all of that. And thank you, Sarah, for being here. See, you are worthy and you should be here. So there are other holidays today, believe it or not. And I want to talk about some of the other holidays. And I've got the check-a-day calendar here. Believe it or not, I drive my husband crazy with these holidays each day because, as anyone who knows me knows, that I'm all about celebrating and I find things to celebrate every day. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to ask each of you about these various holidays and how they resonate with each of you. And I'll start with you, Barbara. And did you know, maybe you didn't, that today is In God We Trust Day? Did you know that?
I did not know that.
So how does that resonate with you?
Well, it resonates on a couple of levels. One is money, because how I relate to that expression, In God We Trust. And the other is an ever evolving, understanding that I have of God. And I consider God as love. And so non-denominational, just love. So in love, I trust.
I love that. I love that. Elaine?
Well, the first thing I thought of too is it's on our money. In God we trust. And honestly, I believe everyone believes in God, whether they say they don't believe in God, but I believe that they believe in something. And so to them, that is their God.
Okay. And Sarah?
Oh, well, I come from a Jewish background. I'm Jewish, so I have a faith, but I just believe that we all have a right to sort of celebrate things in the way we want to and practice in the way we want to, and we all have a way of kind of coming to terms with the kind of the world and how things should be. And all I can just hope for everyone is that we have a peaceful world and a happy world. It's a very unstable environment, and I think we need to trust each other, and we need to kind of work with one another, don't we, to kind
Absolutely.
of make sure things are peaceful, whether or not we believe in God or not.
Well, the thing is that all religion, whatever it is, all points in the same direction. And that's the golden rule. We should all treat others the way that we want to be treated ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And if we do that, we are all going to, really, the world will be a better place. So the next holiday is that, and we've had a lot of this. I don't know what it's been like with Elaine and Sarah, but Barbara and I can both commiserate with this. It's April Showers Day. Today is the first, but it's been absolutely beautiful here. The last day, it's just been absolutely beautiful here. So, Barbara, April Showers Day.
Yeah, April showers. Yeah, we definitely have gotten our share of showers. And I'm good for now, but I'm happy for nature that it's gotten, the showers. And that's what I kind of think of. I think of all that's underground that's getting ready to come up. So it's like the musical On a Clear Day. Hey,
Yes.
hey, buds below, up is where to grow. Up with which below can't compare with. Yeah. So anyway, yeah.
And speaking of which, on Sunday night at 7:00, I'm celebrating Barbara right here, Barbara
Right.
Streisand. And I interviewed Austin Pendleton this afternoon
Oh,
because he could not be here live. And we had a great conversation about Barbara. Elaine, April Showers Day.
Bring May flowers.
Yes.
um, Ironically, last night and through this morning, we did have lots of showers. And so it must have known that that was supposed to happen.
Yes.
And that it's very cloudy here today.
Mhm.
The weather has been so erratic. It's been 94 one day, 64 the next day, rain, sunshine. I mean, we're all just going, the environment saying, you're not the only ones. We're all kind of moving and grooving, but there's no rhyme or reason for any of it. It's just, I think like anywheres from 76 to 86 with sun is beautiful.
It's absolutely gorgeous here today.
So I'll take that. But it's kind of fun to see the different changes because then you really realize that nothing is the same and everything is going to change.
And Sarah,
I remember being in Hawaii and I was doing a Hawaii 5-0 and I called the studio because it was so sunny when I left the house and it was pouring down rain. They said, just go inside and shop for about 10 minutes and it'll stop. And sure enough, they were right. So, I mean, I think it just kind of lets you know someone else is in charge.
yes. Sarah?
Well, we've had a really nice spate of good weather actually here in London and UK. But of course, with global warming, who knows? Things are just so sort of temperamental. We never quite know what the weather's going to be like. And so going back to kind of Global Earth Day, I think that's something that we have to think about, all the kind of climate changes that are taking place because of what we've done to the atmosphere. But for now, I'm enjoying the nice weather and I'm enjoying being in my garden too.
Great. And I am definitely looking forward to those May flowers. So today is also something that we're not doing here, but it's a day of silence. Barbara, do you take time in your day just for silence?
I think it's one of our greatest gifts, silence. And I think, I was having a chat with some friends earlier today about silence and the value of it, listening to others, and listening to the world around us. And this morning, the birds were all chirping outside my window and just being privileged to take it in, being able to hear, in the silence, like what's there. It's a beautiful thing. So I like the silence, yes.
Great. Elaine?
Well, I think I'm like Richard. It's silent. I better talk.
Yeah.
I think that silence is a good thing because I think sometimes you are listening, but it's also maybe a time of prayer for some people.
Yeah.
And I think all things are good, really. I mean, I think silence, when there's a stillness, it's kind of like the saying, be still and know that I am God. And I think sometimes the stillness is necessary. Not that I am God, but sometimes it's just good to hear what you're supposed to hear.
Sarah?
I've definitely become more reflective as I've got older, and I really enjoy yoga. And I enjoy that sort of quiet sort of meditation that kind of goes on in a yoga kind of session. So I try and adopt that, for a few minutes each day. Yeah.
I think it's
Just to
important.
rebalance. Yeah.
I think it's important. And it's something that we're afraid of, I think, just to be silent for a few moments. Let's see. We'll be silent for a moment while it's Girl Scout Leader Day. So, Barbara, were you a Girl Scout, Barbara, or do you have any affiliation with the Girl Scouts on any level?
For like a half a minute, I was a Girl Scout, just for a very short time, just enough to get a few badges. But I grew up with my older brothers, and I really preferred doing things with them. So I was more apt to, try to follow them. So yeah, just long enough to get a few badges.
Okay. Elaine?
Well, my mother was a Girl Scout leader for my sister, and I just tagged along, and I think they let me. I don't even think I was old enough to be a brownie at the time or whatever, but I do support Girl Scout cookies.
Now, Sarah, the Girl Scout is an American tradition, but is there a British equivalent to the Girl Scouts?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I was just wondering actually if it was an English one, because I think it was set up by Baden Powell, the Boy Scouts and the Cubs and the Boy Scouts movement, and then we have the Brownies, because I wasn't sure if you knew who the Brownies were, so obviously you do,
Yes.
and the Girl Scouts. So I don't know, I can't claim ownership if it's English or American, but we obviously have the same kind of movement. I was just a brownie for a few years. I like the social aspect. I got a couple of badges, but really pathetic ones, like, housekeeping. Very good, is it? And I like the dance one, I think. But they do very dynamic. I think the badges that the girls do now are really quite something. And they broaden the girls' mind so that they're not kind of, stuck in particular kind of roles. They're encouraging the girls to have a much wider perspective. Yeah. I'm still friendly with some of the girls I was a brownie with.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Good. Yeah.
And I was in the Boy Scouts, so different thing altogether. And now they are allowing girls to be in the Boy Scouts, but they are still not allowing boys to be in the Girl Scouts.
Oh.
Any thoughts on that? Anyone?
I think that's a subject that the government has stretched and reworked and everything. I think that there's just a natural evolution in life that I think we should just be able to experience every aspect of life growing up. I don't think anything should be dictated. I think it should just be out there, and if your parents want to teach you or whomever, I just don't like the government being involved saying you have to do this or you can't do that. I think everyone should just be, especially when you're a child, explore.
Now, changing the subject completely, I've been on a diet, but I did splurge a little bit last week because today is also another thing. Believe it or not, the week after Easter, today is National Jelly Bean Day. I like Ronald Reagan, who was also an Aquarian. I love jelly beans. And I love jelly beans. Barbara, do you like jelly beans? And if so, do you have a favorite jelly bean?
Believe it or not, black.
My favorite.
Really?
You and I, we can gorge.
Licorice.
Yes, we can gorge on that.
Okay.
Elaine?
I love almost all jelly beans, but I think champagne flavored are my favorite.
I don't think I've ever had champagne flavored jelly beans.
Believe it or not, I discovered champagne jelly beans in a doctor's office.
And what about you, Sarah?
Well, I am an Aquarian, by the way.
When's your birthday?
Yeah, February 7th.
I'm February 11th.
11th, yeah.
7-Eleven.
7-11.
11.
January 25th, a month after the big guy.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
But I
Wait, well, you're an Aquarian as well.
Yeah.
3 Aquarians. I'm a Pisces.
Well,
Okay.
Well,
you're
you're
right
close.
behind us.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Sarah, jelly beans, are you a fan?
Sorry, I'm not. Chocolate for me. But
Okay.
English chocolate. I'm not so keen on American chocolate. I'm sorry.
I don't
And, and doing full circle with this before we go to our questions for the day, it's International Mother Day, Mother Earth Day, I mean, International Mother Earth Day. So, and I think, Barbara, you especially, you resonate Mother Earth. So, and what that means for you.
Thank you. Yeah, well, one of our trustees, Kathy Harajian, wrote a beautiful statement on today's Earth Day message for our Global Garden Foundation. I'm wearing the shirt.
Oh, I love it.
And it represents, the earth, environmental, the environment, cultural diversity, and the arts. Those are the things that we celebrate. And she wrote a beautiful statement about how Mother Nature has the answer to most of our problems, which is so true. We make things so complicated, but if we paid attention to Mother Earth, she offers answers in abundance, so yeah.
Yes. Elaine, anything to add?
The thing about that is, I wish we would go back to really growing stuff the way it should be grown, as opposed to all the GMOs, which is a whole nother political statement. But I really disapprove of all the GMOs and all the pesticides and all the everything that we're being inundated with. And I just wish we did go back to the healthier
Organic.
vegetables, the healthier fruits, the healthier, even if you eat meat or fish or anything, because we have so polluted everybody. I mean, the fish, the cattle, the birds, everybody. And I really wish, because I thought something was wrong with me, but I remember as a child growing up, like, carrots were so sweet, or tomatoes, or just fresh vegetables were so wonderful, apples. And now they've genetically, transformed so many things. To me, I thought something was wrong with me, like, oh, I lost all my taste buds or something. But nothing tastes the same, including chocolate candy that we used to have as children here. It all tastes like wax now.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wish we could go back to Mother Earth's natural ingredients.
I agree. Sarah?
Yeah, and I think we need to be conscious of the kind of seasons as well when particular produce are in season, because we've got used to kind of having strawberries all year round or peaches all year round or what have you. And then I don't know if it's the same in the States, but in England, when we go to the supermarket, you see where things are produced, and the carbon footprint is incredible. That you'll have things, I don't know, I can't think of what I've recently bought. Strawberries, actually. British strawberries are fantastic in the summer, but at the moment you get them from Southern Europe or beyond. And you have to stop and think, actually, is it necessary to buy strawberries? Should we buy something else that's in season at the moment? So I think it's partly to do with us wanting things on tap all year round, but actually it's better to kind of think when they're naturally in season and buying more locally.
That's something that I think we should all think about. And I think that, thank you for bringing that up, that we should all think about those things.
May I
Yes,
just
go ahead, Barbara.
Yeah, because the locally grown is absolutely right. It's the carbon footprint issue that beyond the GMO crisis, which the body doesn't quite know what to do with the GMO, so a lot of times it'll store it as fat. So a lot of the fat we're experiencing is fat. The body doesn't know how to process the food. And by the way, that business of an apple a day keeps the doctor away, the reason they say that was about eating the entire apple, because the apple has in its seeds, it has arsenic. And arsenic is a discriminating natural chemotherapy, if you will. So it does kill cancer. Like the Trojan horse, cancer will go after the sugars, and then it hits the arsenic and that obliterates it. So, I'm asking everyone to do not throw away your seeds, eat them. I've gotten to where I enjoy the taste of it. But actually the seeds of most of our fruits and vegetables and so on are very healthy for us, and we should consume the entire thing. It's meant to be. Mother Nature has the medicine.
I've heard that about papaya seeds,
Yes.
about helping your digestion, but I
Yes.
never knew about apples. Thank you.
I did not know that. I learned something new today on the show. So thank you,
I
Barbara.
did too. What about orange seeds?
Orange and lemon. And what I do is I'll take those and I'll grind them in a coffee grinder and I sprinkle them on top of things. I do the same thing, believe it or not, with avocado seed. Avocado, I'll let it dry so that the skin peels off, and then you can chop it up into smaller pieces and grind it up into a powder. It's totally delicious and it's so good for you. I mean, awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
never knew that.
Wow.
Yeah, but you let it dry over time. You'll know when it's ready because the skin kind of peels off a little bit. It's easier to peel, and then you can chop it into smaller pieces and put it in a grinder and make it into a powder.
Wow. I'm learning so much today. I'm so glad you all showed up today. So the word today again is joy. And this is a joyful show for me today. I'm learning so much. It is Earth Day. So I've got some questions that I'm going to ask. They're random questions. Again, my homage to James Lipton inside the Actors Studio. But we're covering
I
so much
loved
more.
him.
But we're covering so much more today. And again, Barbara, I will start with you. And the first question that I'm asking is, in what situation do you have the least control of your emotions?
Ooh. That's a really good question because two things come to mind. The least control that I have is when I'm inspired by nature, when something beautiful happens, like a butterfly flew by the window before, and my emotions are just, that my heart swells. And the same thing around children. I have a response to puppies and children. Yeah.
She's sleeping.
So mostly it's emotions are out of control. Yeah.
Nature. You're saying nature just takes you. Elaine, when have you been the most motivated in the past week?
Well, I would have to say last night. I went to a Walk of Fame presentation for the stars, and I met a woman, and she is the only daughter of Carmen Miranda and Cesar Romero. And she was telling us stories last night that were beyond
No,
fascinating.
wait a minute. Carmen Miranda and Cesar Romero had a daughter?
Yes, and she just found out about it. Let's see, I think it's about 7 or 8 years ago, and it took 5 years of investigation and DNA tests and everything, lots of money. I was going to talk to you about her later because she has a book coming out.
Get her on
And
the show. I want her here.
yes, yes. And so I thought of you instantly. And she's a lovely lady, but it's very interesting how the internet kind of skewed some of that information. And I think I would have answered about not being able to control my emotions. Right before the show started, it was like LA County now wants to do another mask mandate. And it's like when you have absolutely no control, is I think the most frustrating. But the joy is when you find out or discover things. And I went to the party afterwards and was so motivated for new Campy Lane episodes from just talking to different people. I go, oh, now this one would be fun, or this would be fun. And it was so interesting to find different people there going, well, I can turn you on to this, or you could have this location. And I thought, wow, this is so inspiring. And I think that's what I miss most about what has happened since the pandemic is the joy of being in the room or being with other people and living off of their energy as well, or getting their ideas, or going, you know what, I think I could do this. And that's, to me, the most inspiring is the motivation that you listen and hear about other people and think, how can I contribute, or what can I do? And I think that instead of keeping us all locked up again, I think we just need to all stand up for our rights. I just really believe it because I think emotionally, creatively, and every other way, it's stifling us. And I
Okay.
think we just have to do it.
Okay. Sarah, my question for you is, what do you consider the single most beautiful word in the world?
Oh, before I'll think of that, but before I say it, can I just say that yesterday was National Banana Day, wasn't it, Richard?
Yes, it
2 days
was.
ago.
Yes.
You posted that on LinkedIn, and you had a picture of Carmen Miranda and a little
Yes, I
balloon
did.
about her. So, sorry, just linking into what Elaine was saying.
That's the synchronicity that's always going on. Yes.
Okay, Remind me, what did you ask me? Sorry.
What you consider to be the single most beautiful word in the world.
Oh, well, I think positivity. I mean, you mentioned that earlier, I think, and I think just having a positive outlook is really important. It kind of keeps you going.
I agree. You know that about me.
Can I just add something? Actually, I think it's 2 words. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. I'd agree with that. Barbara, who is the person that you know with the freest spirit?
Oh, God. I know a lot of free spirits. Gee whiz. That's a great question. Wow. Wow. The freest spirit, I think, that's a toughie. I think, you know what? I'm going to say that for our purpose, Richard, I'd like to use you as an example because the way you move through a conversation, your spirit is free. It's like untethered. And I love that about you. And that's why, you know, I got hooked as well so long ago, because, you know, it is your free spirit that moves so easily. And so, yeah, I would say you, darling.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. Thanks. Thank you.
Did you hear that?
Yes, I did.
I did, and I agree. And you also let other people have his or her own
Can you hear me?
thoughts.
Yes. Yes. We can hear you. Yes.
I think that the fact that you are a free spirit, you allow others to
Are you
be a free
there?
spirit.
Yes, we can hear you. Can you see us and hear us? Yes.
Hello?
Barbara, we can hear you. Yes. Barbara, we can hear you. I don't know what happened, but Barbara, we can hear you.
And Seer.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. We can see you. Barbara, I don't know what happened. She may have. Barbara, go ahead, Elaine.
Spirits. I think I would have to be considered a free spirit because I'm not easily convinced by what goes on or what people say or do, that I always want to do what I want to do. And I think the greatest thing in life is that you can allow people to do what they want to do. And you're so good at it, Richard. So I applaud you.
I
Well,
think I'm back.
You are back. We could still hear you and see you, so hopefully you can hear and see us. So,
Okay.
Sarah, Sarah, did anything happen this week that unnerved you? You don't have to give a specific, and if so, how did you get through it?
Oh, to be honest, I don't think anything happened this week which unnerved me. So I can't think of an immediate example. But I have had situations that have unnerved me. And when they do, I tend to always consult with my husband, actually. And my husband it gives me masses of support, as indeed my mum does. So you were asking earlier about influences, and I suppose my 2 biggest influences and support are my husband Tony and my mum, and also friends. And I know I've got quite a few friends who are online watching, so they know who they are, who provide support and who are there for me when situations are tough. Yeah.
Richard, I think both of us have the same experience of an unnerving this week for a dear friend, Barbara Sickman, that we should give a shout out to, who passed on Sunday night. So that was very unnerving.
And sudden, very sudden.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Thank you. And Barbara, I think I know the answer to this next question, but I'm going to ask it anyway, just to hear your answer. Do you practice gratitude? And
Oh my goodness.
So, can you name 5 things that you're grateful for today?
Okay. Well, you're looking at 3 of them.
Yes. Great.
I'm grateful for meeting, I'm grateful for being a part of this show. And I'm very grateful for meeting your two guests who are lovely, and I have a sense of a bondedness between us all. And so there's three right there. And the other is that it is Earth Day, a beautiful day of celebration, and that there are so many people who are endeavoring to do great things now. So it feels good. It feels like we're not alone. And so I'm happy about that. I'm very grateful about that.
That's great. And on that note, I think it's a great time to give away the book. And we're going to draw it here. And we'll see who is going to be getting the book. And we'll see who that is. Thank you. And it's Pam Stubbs. Once again, Pam is, she wins a lot. But I will say this, she shows up and she enters and she wins. So Pam, I will get that in the mail tonight for you. So thank you for being here. I want to
Which book? Which book?
She's going to be winning the book by Khalid Smith. It's a book called Joy. And so she will be getting that. Thank you, Elaine. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Barbara. Don't go anywhere for a moment. I want to thank all of you who showed up, those of you who show up on a regular basis, and those of you who are showing up for the first time. If this is your first time, I hope it will not be your last. My show is about celebrating. It's about celebrating life, celebrating artists, celebrating whatever we can find to celebrate. As you can see today, there's a lot to celebrate if we take the time to do so. I would like everybody, if it is your first time, whether it is your first time or not, after today's show, please, even if you've left comments here, to go to my YouTube channel and leave a comment on the channel itself about what your thoughts are about today's show. And if you are even more inclined to share this show through YouTube, what that does is that helps to elevate the show there. And also, if you can tell your friends about the show, that's an even better thing to do for us. Also, I end every show by telling everyone to go out and do something nice for somebody else without expecting anything in return. In numerology, today is a 5. So go to your Facebook friends list and reach out to the 5th name that you come across and reach out with a phone call. Not an email message, not a text message, not a private inbox message, but a phone call. And let that person know what they mean to you. Elaine has already brought up our dear friend, Barbara. I spoke with Barbara on Sunday afternoon, and Barbara and I were laughing and having a great time. And Barbara said that she would be looking forward to seeing my interview with Sandy Duncan on Tuesday night. Little did I know that that would be the last conversation that we would physically be able to have, although we can talk, because I always think of her now as being in the next room. Something that I have mentioned a few times, but I think it's worth repeating. And I see this all the time. I saw it with Robert Morse, who we just lost. I saw it with Jay Binder earlier this week. I've seen it with other people that we've lost. When someone passes away, everybody reaches out to pick their favorite picture of that person, their favorite memory, and they post those pictures and they share them all over social media. And I think how wonderful it would be if we did those things the week before they pass away, when they're still with us, to enjoy those things. And I realize that we can't do this with everybody every day. But if each of us took the time to do that with one person every day, it would make a huge difference in all of our lives. Now, social media is based on 3 things, and it's all about social. Like, comment, and share. If you see a post, especially if it's someone talking about their work, like it, share it, comment on it. If it's something that you don't feel that's worth sharing, delete it or hide it, because it's not adding to the positivity, as you mentioned earlier.
So I think it's very important that we take the time to celebrate each other as we go into the evening, as we go into tomorrow. I hope that everybody who's on this show and everybody who's watching will follow my lead and do this as we go into the days ahead. As my dear friend Sean Moniger says, we're all in this together, but we're not in the same boat. And I always say, if you're going to go out in a boat, make sure you bring a skipper along. So I'm going to leave the screen, and I'm going to give each of you a chance to have your final word. I will start with you, Elaine, and then Sarah, and then Barbara. You will have the final word today. It could be about anything that we've talked about today that you want to build upon. It could be about something that we didn't talk about that you wish we had. Or it could be about just any message that you want to put out into the world. And Barbara, at the end, don't worry about how to end the show. As soon as you say goodbye, the final credits will roll. So thank you once again, everybody. Thanks for being here tonight. And I will see you back tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. And Elaine, you've got the stage. It's all yours.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for inviting me, because that was very, very kind of you. And I'm very appreciative of that. So there's my gratitude. I'm so appreciative of meeting two new people. I think that's wonderful. And this is the good thing about technology, is that you get to meet people all over the world. And Sarah, it's just wonderful hearing your accent. I love it. It's so cute. And knowing about what goes on in London and how it really doesn't differ that much from what goes on in the US. And Barbara, being Mother Earth, I think you are the best example. And it was just so delightful. And I wish I had the patience to be growing something. I mean, flowers look at me and they die, you know? I mean, I could kill anything. I could kill cactus and have. So I so appreciate, but I appreciate the fact that you kind of reinforced what I've always believed as far as natural, and the natural vegetables, the natural fruits, which Sarah, you alluded to as well. Do we really need to be getting it from another part of the world? And do we need to eat it all the time? Because as a child growing up, when we didn't have that, I would look forward to the seasons, like, oh, here come the strawberries, here come the cherries, here come, whatever. And now I think that it's sometimes global isn't as good. I mean, we do get it, but I think it's fun, more fun and more tasty to have homegrown. So I've learned so much from both of you and appreciate it. Not that I could homegrown anything, but I appreciate the what your input was. So thank you to both of you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Pleasure meeting you. Okay, well, I'd love to thank Richard for inviting me along to this show. I really enjoyed it, and it's wonderful to have the opportunity to speak. And I suppose just to say, it's important to seize the opportunity when somebody gives you an opportunity, rather than just say no. Actually go for it, and you'll embrace it and really enjoy it. I want to do a name check if I can, because Barbara Lee, I was fascinated. I now need to kind of listen to the music, your music and the Earth Anthem. But one of the things that has helped me and colleagues of mine, former colleagues of mine, through lockdown, and we set up various groups and support groups and different kind of interest and ability groups. And I have a friend online who's listening, Matt. You know who you are, and he ran for our organization, my former organization, a music group. And that's still running, and he's still leading it. And every week we'd play different music. Each of the members would choose a particular piece of music that resonated or that was interesting. And we actually linked to different diversity national days, in the calendar. So I have no doubt that he's going to be playing your anthem at the next meeting. So a big name check to him, and thank you very much. And I can't wait to listen to your music, and can't wait to watch more programs that Richard runs. So I'll say goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Sarah, by the way, at the beginning of the song, the Earth Day anthem, it starts off with the London chimes, da 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 dum, da 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 dum, saying kind of like the time is now, because the time is always now. But the thing I'd like to leave with everybody is is a little message from nature that I got early on. I fell in love with dandelions. And dandelions, that little yellow, they called it a weed. And I just thought it was the most magnificent flower that would explode into this wonderful, the seeds with the little, the ability to fly everywhere. You'd made a wish and you'd blow and it would go out in all directions. And I think that we need to re-look again at things that we take for granted or things that we underestimate or undervalue, and think again, like maybe there is a real value to it if we look harder, that maybe it's not a weed, because people know now that there is dandelion soap and there's dandelion root teas and wine, and the flower is finally celebrated. And I just want to celebrate all of you because I do love everybody. And I look for reasons to love you. So if you ever see me, that's what I'm looking for. Happy Earth Day. And thank you, Richard.